Wurkkos is a new brand on the market. They're being produced along with the assistance of Sofrin in a shared factory, and the Wurkkos FC11 caught my eye because it was using the desirable Samsung LH351D high CRI LED emitter at 5000 Kelvin, had USB-C, and it's pretty affordable. Thanks to Wurkkos for sending this light to me to take a look at and review. Be sure to check the description of the video below for a discount available to my viewers for this light for only the month of January. Guys, if you haven't followed my social media accounts, I'd appreciate you doing so. I'm trying to build my Facebook group, Instagram following, Twitter, all that stuff. So if you use any of those platforms, make sure to check the description for a link to those sites. Here is the packaging the light comes in. It's a white box with yellow sides here. No information on the outside. I suspect they'll use this for other future flashlights. It's just kind of a generic box, and it's not bad. Inside you get a pretty good manual here in English. It's pretty well written. You get an extra O-ring or two and a lanyard, and you get a USB-C to USB-A cable. Pretty standard, nothing too fancy. The light comes with a pocket clip here, fairly standard. The paint on it is glossy and it's non-deep carry. And then you get this Wurkkos branded battery here, 3000 milliamp hour. It is protected and it is a button top, as you can see. I tested the capacity of this battery in my X-Star VC4S, which I reviewed about several months ago, and it tests at 2854 milliamp hours, so that's pretty good for a 3000 milliamp hour battery. I can see a battery code on here, but I can't fully read it, so if anybody knows what that is, let me know. The Wurkkos FC11 is made from aluminum and is hard anodized in a semi-glass finish, very similar to ThruNite or Sofrin lights. The tail is flat here and does allow for tail standing, and it's also magnetic. You can just slap it onto my knife blade here. No problems. It's a pretty strong magnet too. It has no problems holding the light horizontally, and as you can see, I can shake the knife and it's not coming loose. The knurling on the tail cap here is just straight lines with a little bit of jagged edges on it, and I'm not going to say it's bad milling, but you can see just a few of those lines where they didn't go quite deep enough with the milling. There's one with 3 little lines on it. It's not bad, it's not great. Here, this one, they went a little bit too deep. Maybe the fixture wasn't square. So again, this is like the only quality problem I found with the light, and it's really minimal. This really took me really looking. The body tube here is ribbed, and I like that. It's a little bit different. It's not your typical knurling. It looks kind of like a Lumentop worm if you've seen one of those lights. It's one of the super early reviews I did on this channel. Clip only attaches at this end of the tube, but the tube is reversible. So if you wanted that clip on the head of the light for some reason, you could take it apart and do that fairly easily. My hope would be that Wurkkos develops a deep carry clip for this light, because I really think that would take it over the edge for EDC. There is a little bit of body rattle when I shake this. I'll shake it up by my microphone here, just so you can hear it. It's very minor and not really a big deal. If I hit the light against my hand, I can feel that battery move around, but it never lost contact, so that's good too. The head here is pretty standard, semi-transparent button with LEDs underneath. When you turn it on initially, you get green LEDs. When charging, they go red, and when charged, green. You have a blue bezel here, reminds me of Olight, nice bright blue. You've got some milling here on the sides. They're just a little bit sharp, not bad. Then you've got your USB port here on the bottom side, and this is USB-C for charging, which is great to see on a budget light. Maybe 2020 will be the year of USB-C on flashlights. Other than that, the head's pretty plain. If we look in at the emitter here, got just a piece of standard glass. We got an orange peel reflector, and then you've got the Samsung LED in the center. I measured the Wurkkos FC11 at 116 millimeters in length, 24 millimeters at the tail in diameter, 25 at the thickest part of the head. Weight with the included battery and pocket clip was 112.1 grams, and the light is IPX7 water rated, and that is up to 1 meter. I've got 3 lights to compare the Wurkkos to size-wise. I've got first a Convoy S2 here at the bottom that wants to roll away. Very, very similar light in size and diameter to the Wurkkos. My Convoy here is in UV, so I can't do a beam shot comparison to it. At the top, we've got the ThruNite TC15. Similar light. The TC15 is a little bit longer, as you can see, maybe about 7 millimeters longer. Diameter-wise, we can see the ThruNite is about 1.5 millimeters larger in diameter too. And that's what I'll be using for my night shots here later in the review, so make sure you keep watching till we get to that point. The Wurkkos FC11 is using the Samsung LH351D LED in 5000 Kelvin and is considered high CRI at a value of 90. And this is a great LED to use and one of the light community's favorites right now because of its high CRI and neutral tint. It's also my first time getting a hold of this LED, and so far I'm a fan. Mine seems to be pretty neutral in tint with just a hint of green, but I've heard others complain about getting a more greener tint LED. And that's just how the tint lottery goes with some LEDs, and this one, it goes that way. The light uses an orange peel reflector and non-anti-reflective coated glass, and the beam profile here does have a little bit of a hot center, but it fades nicely into spill. No undesirable rings or artifacts, and I found it good for general use. Okay, here's my review of the Wurkkos FC11, my night shots, and this is Eco Mode 2 lumens, and this is the Samsung LH351D in 5000 Kelvin. And you can start to see the beam pattern here. Pretty decent beam pattern. Stepping up here, here is low, 50 lumens. And as I pan up, you can see 50 lumens does an okay job. It's not too weak, does a nice job around you. Let's look in the backyard. Here's medium, 300 lumens. Starts to throw, gives you a good idea of the beam pattern as well. You can see it's got a bit of a hot center and it fades nicely. No ugly beam patterns or anything to it. Here is high, 700 lumens. You can see this nice neutral white tint. High CRI, the grass, although it's not very green anymore, looks nice. Here is turbo, full 1300 lumens as they measure it. You can see it's not a thrower, but it does pretty well for a light this size with this style of optic. Lights up the neighbor's backyard well. Good general purpose light in my opinion. Just a little bit of comparison here. On my left hand I've got the Wurkkos FC11 and in my right hand here I've got the ThruNite TC15 in cool white. So here's the Wurkkos, you can see that neutral white, and here's the ThruNite and you can see that cool white. The ThruNite's a little bit tighter beam pattern we can see here, and it's also rated for more lumens, but size-wise these are a good light to compare it to. Price-wise, the Wurkkos is a much better value in my opinion. Here is turbo on the Wurkkos, and here is high on the ThruNite. They're most comparable in terms of output. The ThruNite is a little bit higher there, but we can see that the cooler tint and the little bit throwier beam out of the ThruNite. Then here's the Wurkkos, a little bit warmer 5000 Kelvin tint and better color rendering index, a little bit broader beam as well. Overall, the Wurkkos here I think is a great value, very useful beam. That high CRI, neutral white tint, I just absolutely really love. I think it's a great overall value. So one more thing I wanted to show on the Wurkkos was that ramping, and here's the ramping. As I go up, it blinks to let you know you're on the top mode, and as I come down, it blinks again, but it's hard to see. We have double click to turbo yet here, triple click to strobe. No problem, same as in the stepped mode. I just love the ramping. It's a really nice UI. Does a great job. For my runtime graph here, I used the Wurkkos 3000 mAh battery that the light came with. Made sure it was fully charged each time. The driver here is a non-regulated FET driver and features a timed step down. After that, output is linear and really correlates to the cell's voltage. I didn't notice any slow PWM in the lower modes for this light, and I have equipment coming that I should be able to measure it. So make sure you check out my blog post on this light because I'll be sure to add those when it arrives later on this weekend. Turbo here is listed at 1300 lumens and started to step down after about 75 seconds, and that was fully decreased to right around 25% relative output by about 90 seconds. From here, the light was a very linear decrease on out to 425 minutes of total runtime, where the low voltage protection on the battery kicked in at 2.825 volts. You don't see many modern lights here that have output graphs like this. That's a cost-cutting measure on the driver here. Personally, I'd pay a few more dollars to have a regulated driver and have a few more steps in it. Maybe that's something we'll see on a future model of maybe an updated model of this light. Heat here was well controlled and even I'd say mild. In my runtime test, at 1 minute I measured 85 degrees Fahrenheit, 5 minutes 87, and at 10 minutes a very cool 90 degrees. And that's actually pretty cool for a modern light as well. In my opinion, they could bump it up a little, run it a little bit harder if they wanted to, and still be perfectly safe. Official outputs are listed at turbo at 1300 lumens, high at 700 lumens, medium at 300 lumens, low at 50 lumens, and eco at 2 lumens. The UI on the Wurkkos FC11 has two options for people to choose from. By default, it comes in a stepped mode, but it also has ramping available. To change the UI when the flashlight's off, just hold that button for 3 seconds. And the light will flash twice and come on to let you know it's been switched. The light ships by default in stepped mode, and it's pretty easy and straightforward. From off, you just tap to turn on, and then you have tap to advance in modes again. So you've got low, or eco, low, medium, and high as part of your main mode groups. And eco here doesn't really show up on camera with my video lights. Turn off, you just long press, double click to go to turbo, triple click to go to strobe, and then you click 4 times for lockout and 4 times again to unlock. The light also has memory mode for your single modes, for your non-special single modes, I guess I'd say. This is pretty standard, but at first I found myself clicking and holding to activate the modes or advance the modes like you do on many other lights, but this light doesn't do that. In ramping mode, this is pretty simple and straightforward. The light starts on low and allows you to keep going, and when it gets at the top, it flashes once, and then you press again to go down, and it flashes again at low. The total time to go from low to high is 1.2 seconds or so. You can stop it in the output you want, so say like this one, and if you want to reverse your direction, you just let off and click again and go up, and you want a little bit less. Okay, you want more. Very intuitive, very easy. All your special modes work here. Double click to go to turbo, triple click to go to strobe, 4 clicks to enter and exit lockout. Same as the stepped mode. There is no hold from off to get to low mode like there is on some lights when ramping. Not a huge deal. Anduril firmware doesn't do this either, and people love Anduril, so I don't consider this a deal killer at all. Recharging here is accomplished via USB-C. Unfortunately, this requires USB-A to C, and C to C is unsupported. Basically, plug in a cable, and the light will start charging. You can see it went green, then red as it checked voltage, and now it's charging up, and now it's completely charged and went green. Charging of the 3000 milliamp hour battery was very linear during the 4 hours and 37 minutes it took to go from low voltage protection at 2.825 volts to full at 4.13 volts, and almost immediately it went to that full speed of 1 amp and then declined slowly and linearly, creating a very linear but not the most ideal curve for lithium batteries, and the light will operate in low mode when charging. So the pros for me are USB-C charging, but it doesn't have C to C support. It's got a Samsung LH351D neutral white high CRI emitter. It's a great choice. It's a very affordable price for a complete package light. At time of filming, it's $30 without the discount. It's got a very strong magnetic tail, and it's got 2 UI options to choose from, either stepped or ramping. The cons for me are I'd prefer that deeper carry pocket clip option. If so, I think this would make an excellent EDC. Even as is, it makes a good EDC. Some people have reported a bit of tint lottery with the LED. You might get one that's a little bit more green, which a lot of people consider undesirable. You've got a non-regulated driver here. After initial step down, the output is significantly lower and linear based on the voltage of the battery. And dual springs in the tail cap that were a little bit stronger would reduce the amount of battery movement noise you get if you're really rough with the light. My conclusion is that, to be honest, when I first saw that Wurkkos was offering me this light, I didn't know who they were and I didn't think much of it initially. But I'm glad I took a little bit of time and checked closer and ultimately said yes to get my hands on it. For $30 at the time of filming, a neutral tint high CRI emitter with onboard USB-C charging with an included 3000 milliamp hour 18650 battery means I'm pretty impressed. This would make a great gift light to give to someone as your first real flashlight, or as a good way to experience the Samsung LH351D LED if you haven't already. While the ribbing on the body isn't revolutionary, it's nice to see they went with something different here to make them stand out a little bit more from other knurled and milled lights on the market. This is going to be my budget 18650 recommendation for people new to the hobby or who want a beater light until I run across something better. This doesn't compete with those high-end $100 lights, but the value here is undeniable. It's really a high-value combination. You've got a good emitter, 2 solid UI choices, and a complete package deal. It's not perfect, but the positives for me outweigh the negatives. Maybe we'll see a slight revised model next year like what WowTac did with the A1 to the A1S, and they'll fix a few minor things, stick in a regulated driver, etc. Overall, I recommend the Wurkkos FC11 and look forward to seeing what they do in the future. Wurkkos has provided my viewers a discount till the end of the month, and I'll have it in the description below. So if I've piqued your interest in this nice value flashlight, please sure to check it out and save a few dollars while you're at it. Thanks guys for sticking to the end and watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, give it a like, give it a share, let your friends and family know, and click that link to check it out on Amazon. As always, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer them, and I'll catch you on the next review.